The BV-238 flying transport floatplane constructed by the Blohm Voss Company was the biggest aircraft built by the Axis forces during World War II and the heaviest until 1944. It was developed throughout the war and finished in its last days, capable of crossing the Atlantic and reaching South America. The Allied authorities devised a strategy to demolish every last resort that may aid the enemy, fearing that high-ranking Nazi officials would evacuate before being apprehended. Origins: Herman, Blohm and Ernst Voss started the Blohm Voss Company in 1877, specializing in shipbuilding but subsequently focusing on aircraft design for the Lufthansa and the Luftwaffe. On Coverdo Island, they constructed a 1,500 square meter shipyard capable of handling two enormous 100-meter ships. The corporation embraced the Nazi Party's ambition to construct an impenetrable army and air force as a provocation to the 1919 Treaty of Versailles. Despite its demise, the business reconstructed and relaunched itself during World War II, supplying German soldiers and gaining fame for their successful flying boat projects. A colossal flying boat. Lufthansa's BV-222 Viking, a long-range passenger flying boat, could arrive in New York after 20 hours. The BV-222 Viking's success prompted plans for a larger project. Dr. Richard Vogt developed the concept and delivered the BV-238 model blueprints to the German Ministry of Aviation or RLM in 1941. The project was authorized, however, first a quarter-size model was required. In Prague, a Czechoslovakian company called FTP developed the 227 model, which was evaluated, with emphasis on its long and slender hull. In 1942, the first BV-238 pieces were built. The wingspan of the BV-238 was about 196.85 feet and it had a range of over 6,000 miles. The BV-238 was the heaviest aircraft built up to 1944 with a conventional all-metal aerodynamic design by Blohm Voss. It had a tubular steel wing main spar and an armored main fuel tank. The hull was long and slim, with a storage area on the bottom. The straight wings had flaps along the trailing edge, allowing pathways to engines during flight. A pair of auxiliary floats were implemented in underside panels. The aircraft had a crew of around 12 men, including 2 pilots, 2 mechanics, a radio operator, and a machine gun operator. The BV-238 was a long-range bomber and transatlantic reconnaissance plane. Each wing was powered by 6 Daimler-Benz DB603 liquid-cooled inverted V12 piston engines, 2 HD-151 twin-gun turrets with 20mm machine guns, 2 HL-131V turrets with 4 13mm 131 machine guns, and 2 extra 131 machine guns installed on the fuselage for self-defense were among the weaponry. 6 2,400 kg bombs could be carried by the plane. A second version was never built, but it would have been powered by a single MW801 engine. A land plane variant known as the BV-238 Land was intended for long-range bombing and transatlantic surveillance. The undercarriage would include retractable landing gear, outrigger wheels for stability. 3 prototypes were requested, but none were finished before the war's conclusion. The BV-238 was a Luftwaffe prototype aircraft that flew for the first time in 1943. The aircraft was promptly placed into service and talks concerning its role in the war were held. It may help with supply missions by carrying gasoline, ammo and troops to the U-boats stationed in the Atlantic. Due to repeated Allied strikes and the need for fighter production, plans to deploy it as a long-range bomber were scrapped. Following a discussion in Berlin, Colonel General Ilhard Milch, Deputy Chief of the German Air Force, stated that the home was on fire and that the fire must be extinguished first. Destruction mission. Top Nazi officials evacuating Germany alarmed Allied authorities, and rumors circulated that Martin Bormann planned to use the BV-238 to evacuate in early 1945. The Blohm Voss factories in Hamburg were bombed, but German employees managed to conceal the massive aircraft. The plane was subsequently discovered east of Hamburg half sunk and its engine were set on fire. According to German sources, the Royal Air Force discovered the prototype between April 23 and 26, 1944, whereas American troops claimed victory in September 1944. Lieutenant Ben Drew piloted the lead Mustang, believing that he had killed BV-222 Viking. However, studies conducted in 1974 revealed that the BV-238 was the intended target. Between 1947 and 48, the aircraft's remnants were blown up to allow post-war scrapping, and all other BV-238 prototypes under development were subsequently demolished. Legacy. Despite original expectations, Blohm Voss continues to construct huge ships and heavy machinery for the Germans, as well as exporting oil drilling equipment and ships. The firm employed POW camp laborers, and a monument sits on the site. The BV-238 was the biggest airplane built during the World War II, and it was a remarkable engineering marvel.